Boom, boom, ba bam. Boom, boom, ba bam. Boom, boom, ba bam. Bam, 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 bam. Hello, YouTube. I'm streaming on TikTok and YouTube right now. It's my first YouTube stream, at least the one that I'm actually trying. We'll see how it operates. I could use the OBS studio thing. I probably should, honestly. A little bit of a different camera angle. Let's see if I can switch this actually. That's better. That's better. Maybe a little further back, yeah. I don't want to get too far back. Actually, no. Yes, no. No. Hello to all in TikTok land and YouTube land. First time going live on YouTube in quite a long time. It's very different. Is there anything I can do to send people invites to this stream? Excuse me. Bum, 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 bum. It's so much different compared to YouTube. I could do it like this, maybe. Maybe a little something simple. Do it like this, maybe. Yes. No. Yes. Kind of. Hello, hello. How are y'all? Hope you're having a great Saturday night so far. Hello, YouTube. I do not go live on YouTube very much, but I'm giving it a shot. Y'all behave yourself. What's up, Ace? What up, Red? TikTok, better white boy all time, Bird or Brady? Bird. Love the videos. Appreciate it, Luke. Appreciate it. Yeah, YouTube is it's a whole different game. I was wondering if I should do the OBS studio. Maybe. What up? IDK, do you got a name I can call you instead of IDK? What up, though? Yeah, I think. All right, John. What up, John? I love Oasis. Oasis is very good. I do think when I go live tomorrow night, I will probably do the OBS studio thing so I can look a little better than my web camera here on YouTube land. Appreciate the follow, Bran. Hopefully y'all are having a good night and you're enjoying the video I put out a little while ago. It was legendary songs written in 30 minutes or less. That didn't take me. I had to kind of rush home to film it, but overall it was pretty good. Do you think Oasis is a copycat of the Beatles? I wouldn't say so. I think different kind of music styles. I think similar looks. You know what I mean? I don't think Paul even liked like how they looked because he felt like they're trying to look like John a little bit. But I don't think music wise they're similar. But to each their own. I can see why there's a difference, and I can see why folks would say that they're similar. Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, Michael might be the greatest name of all time. LOL. Mike Tyson too, and they were all big around the same time. Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson, all throughout the 1990s. But I'd probably go Michael Jackson, of course, number one, and then Michael Jordan, number two. Oasis or Blur? Oasis. Not a huge Daft Punk fan, Lime Guy. What is the better England World Cup song, Wonderwall or Hey Jude? Ooh, I like them both. I'm an ignorant American, so I'm probably going to say, well, That doesn't really make any sense. I don't really know about the World Cup a whole lot, but I will go with Hey Jude. By the way, can we acknowledge the shirt that I have on? The brand new YouTube, if y'all can see this, the brand new Motown shirt. There's Stevie Wonder there at the very bottom. I think the Temptations are right there. T Public, by the way. Hey, T Public, you guys are very pristine with your shipping. It only took 3 days. So shout out T Public out there. Do you think Renegade is the perfect song for the Steelers? Yes, I do. The Steelers. I feel like they've been mediocre for so long now. But it's wild because I think second all time in championships or third all time? Yeah, YouTube land's a little bit quiet. I kind of figured it was going to be because my following obviously is a lot bigger on TikTok currently, but I do appreciate those that stopped in. Let me turn this up actually. There we go. There we go. Lou Reed and John Cale are the dark side of Lennon and McCartney. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know much about. I don't listen to much of John Cale. I like Lou Reed because I like Velvet Underground, but John Cale, I have not listened to a lot of his stuff personally. If you guys hear any singing or humming in the background, it's my former cover singer father. He likes to not be quiet. Lou Reed is the man. Dark Side of the Moon or The Wall? Dark Side, I feel like. Dark Side of the Moon. When John Lennon was assassinated, were the Beatles still together at the time? No, they were broken up. The Beatles broke up in 1970. John was killed in 1980. They were on better terms than they were at the beginning of the 70s. But yeah, he was killed, unfortunately. December 8th of 1980, I want to say. What is the greatest band name? Probably the Rolling Stones, because of how the Rolling Stones have been like a lot of like Muddy Waters type of stuff like that. Like Rolling Stones always been a fun element of music. The Bob Dylan song, Muddy Waters, the Rolling Stones band name, the Rolling Stone magazine. So probably the Rolling Stones. Most underrated 1980s album? Oh, man. I got to think about that one. There's so many great ones. Are you watching UFC tonight? I am not. My brother is. My brother and my pops. They're watching UFC. I did see someone get submitted on like a weird side submission. I've never seen it before. I popped in for a second and saw what was going on. I was like, what the heck was that? Bob Dylan or Leonard Cohen? Bob Dylan. Although I do like Leonard Cohen. Hallelujah and stuff. Yeah, YouTube is a little dead. A little dead, unfortunately. Y'all, if y'all got some time or you have an extra device, go to YouTube and see if I sound okay on there. I don't think, if you don't want to, by all means, don't have to, but I just want to see if I sound okay. Who do you think is the least appreciated artist and wrestler? Oh, what's up, Hydrix, by the way? Least appreciated wrestler is probably... That's a great question, actually. I don't know who's the least appreciated wrestler or artist, honestly. I don't know. Maybe Merle Haggard for music. I think everyone knows how good he is, but they don't really acknowledge him as one of country music's best. And then wrestling-wise, least appreciated is probably Brian Pillman. I was watching one of your videos, and you talked about how some guy was murdered on stage. That's wild. That's Dimebag Darrell. Yeah, he was murdered on stage by an ex-Marine who had really bad schizophrenia, and I think he was off his medication. He wasn't taking it, or he had just got off it. And he had two reasonings as to why he killed Dimebag, they said. One of the reasonings was that because Dimebag and Pantera, when they were still a band, allegedly stole lyrics from this guy who clearly wasn't in the right frame of mind. And he was also mad Pantera broke up because Dimebag was doing stuff with Damageplan. So not too sure the truth of either of those things. Maybe he just wanted to be famous. Maybe he shouldn't have been in the public setting, knowing how unstable he was. I have no idea. But yeah, that was Ohio, a couple hours from me, and I was 8 years old. My dad was in the car with me. He was driving, and he liked Pantera, so he was actually kind of heartbroken about that. What do you think of Mackenzie Darn Would You Smash? I'm not sure I know who that is. I can look it up. Johnny Cash or Merle Haggard? Johnny Cash. Yo, what up? In your opinion, who has the best voice in rock and roll? The best voice in rock and roll to me is probably going to be Freddie Mercury. Definitely. Or Robert Plant, one of those two. Or an in prime Axl Rose. That was a great voice too. There's so many good ones, man. There's a lot of good voices. Great voices. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I think the Beatles band name is more famous than their music. It might be. It might be because it's such an interesting name because obviously the BEAT is, because of music and everyone knows who the Beatles are. You know what I mean? I feel like more folks know a beetle musically than a beetle insect, as wild as it is to say. If you could listen to five artists for the rest of your life, who would it be? Oh, easy. Buddy Holly, Bob Dylan, Janis Joplin, The Temptations. That's different, right? So who we say? Bob, Buddy, Janis, Temptations, and Elvis. There's your five right there. I'm forgetting somebody that I probably David Bowie, I'm sorry, I love you. Guns N' Roses, I'm sorry, I love you. AC/DC, I'm sorry, I love you. A lot of Motown, oh my goodness. Um, yeah, there's a lot of them in there that I unfortunately have to say goodbye to. But I do think Buddy's number one to me. Like, if you told me only one artist for the remainder of my life, Buddy Holly with a bullet, um, then it'd be Bob Dylan, then it'd be Elvis, then it'd be The Temptations, then it'd be Janis. So those five, you got to have a good blend. But yeah, those would be my five favorite ones. And if there were to be a sixth one, not to say there is one, but if there were to be a sixth one, I'd probably have to say, maybe even Eddie Cochran. I'm not sure. I'll probably go with AC/DC or Guns N' Roses, one of those two, or Alice in Chains as well, because you want a modern-ish band in there compared to the ones that I was saying. So, yeah, that's a very difficult question, but that's my answer. Oh yeah, Johnny Cash. See, I knew I was forgetting somebody. I can't forget Johnny. Tiny Tim, goated voice. He had a great voice. Paul or John? John to me. I like John more. I assume when Freddie Mercury and Easy E passed away, there was no treatment for AIDS. No, there was not. No. My uncle actually died of the same exact thing the same year Freddie Mercury died. My dad was expecting his firstborn child, which was my older brother, and my dad's older brother, who was 30, which is my age now, passed away due to AIDS. So, no bueno. Who is the most underrated in the Jackson 5 other than Michael? Janet gets her love. So I can't say Janet. They all had a lot of decent. Marlon was really good, I feel like. Tito. I'd probably say Marlon, I think, was underrated. Favorite underrated Michael Jackson song? Earth Song, I would say. Favorite Queen song? Gotta be We Are the Champions, right? I feel like in terms of catalog, talent, and songwriting, you can't go John past Paul. I agree. I like a lot of John's post Beatles stuff as compared to Paul. I do feel like Paul kind of was a little cheesy with his stuff. I love Paul though. Paul is one of my. He loves Buddy Holly, so he's automatically good in my book. And Paul was more talented than John. I think John would tell you that as well. But I liked a lot of John's post Beatles stuff more than I liked a lot of Paul's, with Wings or otherwise. Well, it's all good, Sid. Sid Barrett is my nan. Oh, is he really now? Do you know if all of the Jackson siblings are alive except for Michael, obviously? No, one of them. Was it Marlon that passed away a couple years ago? One of them passed away. That because I think most of them are alive. Besides Michael, and I think it was, don't quote me on that, but I think it was Marlon. He has so many brothers, it's hard to keep up. But I think it's Marlon. Was it Tito? Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, it was one of those two. Hello, Celia. Hello, hello. Hello, I'm not sure how you say that name. It's Eoin. Oh, Joe. I'll call you Joe. How about that, Joe? Hello, Joe. John is more beautiful, whereas Paul is automatically the best hit maker. Yeah, Paul is. I think Bob Dylan said it best. When you look at Paul and you see like his talent, especially back then, yeah, some of that stuff you can't really teach. Like I think before Prince, he may have been the most talented artist because of all the stuff. Paul could have a song in his head and have it ready, set, and able to get recorded in like an hour. You know, on top of being a lefty, on top of being a great songwriter, good on the piano, great voice, and carry a lot of good tunes. Thank you, BB Gun on COD. Mine underrated Michael song is "Get on the Floor" off of "Off the Wall." I think is number 4. The whole "Off the Wall" thing is kind of underrated, only because a lot of folks realize it's like his first really big solo project. Appreciate it. Oh, it is Owen. I'm sorry, man. My top 3 to 5 favorite rappers. Well, seeing where I'm from, YouTube, if y'all can see this. Michigan land, I gotta go Eminem, of course. That's like a guarantee. We'll go Eminem. I don't like a lot of the new rappers. We'll go Eminem, we'll go Tupac, and we'll go Nas as my top 3. Most overrated in the Jackson 5. Here's the thing. They were not all very great besides Michael and Janet. So it's kind of hard to really underrate somebody or overrate somebody, I guess you can say. I would just say Michael and Janet were great and everybody else was just, either good enough or they didn't want to do music anymore. Yeah, Thriller and Bad is definitely way better. Way bigger and better, I should say. It's been good, man. It's been good, Owen. It's been good. It's been good. What are your thoughts on music dropping after artists pass away? It seems like music gets a ton of criticism. I like it. The posthumous releases, a lot of those, especially back then, used to have a lot of wide known success. I believe Otis Redding's, what was the one song? The Sitting at the Dock of the Bay. Yeah, the Dock of the Bay. That was number one. That was the first posthumous single, I want to say. And after that, I feel like it became common to just release more and more, as long as the estate approves it, obviously. I always go back to Buddy Holly, my all-time favorite. He had so many unfinished projects that he recorded that was just him and a recorder that they put a backing band behind eventually, and that became posthumous songs of his. So as long as the estate approves it and it sounds relatively good, then I'm all for it. Appreciate it, Jackson. Yeah, Michael has such a deep discography that a lot of them are going to end up being um, some underrated gems in there because there's so many just monstrous hits like Thriller, like Beat It, like Black or White. You know what I mean? He's naturally going to have a lot of like slept on songs, I guess you can say. Thank you for the roses, by the way, DK. Michigan here too. If you never heard the rapper Bones, he's from Michigan. Huge discography and my favorite. Okay, Bones, Michigan all the way, bro. Somebody asked me a couple days ago where I'm from, and all I did was this. That's all you got to do. If you're in the States, you know. If you're overseas, you might know, but if you're in the States, you definitely know what that means. Paul made the bass guitar a lead instrument. He's more talented than Prince for me. I'm not going to fight you on that. Like I said, if there's one person that I would say is more closer to Prince or more talented than Prince, it's probably Paul. Do you like the White Stripes since you're from Detroit? I'm not from Detroit, I'm from Michigan, but I do. I've told the story before. I lived right around the corner. I went to school with Jack White's nephew. You know what I mean? So that's very cool to know that Jack had a lot of history here. He lives in Tennessee now, I believe. But appreciate that, Coco. That means a lot. Awesome. Appreciate that very much. Dusty May, yep. Do you think Michael Jackson would have eventually made an appearance on WWE if he didn't pass? Probably not. I don't think he had any interest. I know he liked wrestling when he was younger, but I think he was too busy as he got older. Elton John or David Bowie? Bowie for me. Do you like Trick Williams? I do like Trick Williams. I don't know why he's losing so much now, but I can see why. I mean, maybe they're trying to get him ready for Money in the Bank or whatever, but what do you think the top 3 best musical performances of all time are? As far as like live performances? Alice in Chains, Unplugged, especially Nutshell. That's one of them. We'll go with Michael Jackson in Madison Square Garden. I believe that was it the year 2000? It was between 2000 and 2002. I can never get it right. Macaulay Culkin was in the crowd. Just an amazing show. And then Chris Tucker came out. You know what I mean? And who's number 3? Who is a good number 3 to join Michael Jackson at Madison Square Garden and to join Alice in Chains Unplugged, maybe Nirvana Unplugged. The Unplugged stuff is really hard to beat. Elvis Presley on the Ed Sullivan Show for how game-changing that was. That was big time too. A lot of prime Guns N' Roses. Rolling Stones and Bob Dylan together, Argentina in '98. That was a great show. There's a lot of them, but the third one's up in the air. But the first 2 for me, yeah, definitely Alice in Chains Unplugged, especially Nutshell, and Michael Jackson at Madison Square Garden. Oh, and the hit medley. The Temptations and the Supremes on the Ed Sullivan Show, 1971, I believe it was, when they were all doing their songs together, and David Ruffin kind of upstaged Diana Ross. Yeah, that to me is definitely number 3, 100%. Bob Dylan or Bruce Springsteen? Bob Dylan. Which pop icons do you feel are underrated? That's very tough. I'm not good at answering underrated questions because there's so many of them, but I'll let you know on that. I got to think about that one. Jack White has an upcoming concert in Detroit where he's only charging $2 for hot dogs and $6 for beers. Wow. He probably a discount because he's from here. He wants to not gouge everybody. My grandfather went drinking with Eric Clapton just before he became big. What a legend. That's a great story. That was probably, mid-'60s or early '60s, Eric. How do you feel about Lil Yachty and him pairing with Trick Williams? I like it, actually. He's pretty entertaining. I like Lil Yachty, at least in regards to helping Trick Williams. Yeah, 01. I knew it was somewhere between 2000 and 2003. Who's your favorite all-time president? Doesn't have to be recent. I think because he's so fascinating, JFK. Not because he got killed, but because of the whole. I won't talk politics very long, but I think him or Lincoln, I would say, because of how much, not even like him getting killed, but like what he was doing with the Cuban Missile Crisis, and then Abe with obviously helping free the slaves and all that kind of stuff. Washington, too, for setting that precedent of being a president, I guess you can say, of not being the king they wanted him to be, So probably say George, Abe, or JFK. Yeah, Freddie's Live Aid performance, absolutely. Weird question, but do you know if Lisa Marie was the one who found Elvis on his toilet? It was not. It was Ginger, I believe. She was only 8 years old, I want to say. AC/DC and Riverdale, yep. Or I'm sorry, River Plate, Riverdale. It's a TV show. My apologies. Shawn Michaels or AJ Styles in the ring? Shawn Michaels. Do you think Pink Floyd would be as good if Sid never left? Again, ignore my name. My friend changed it. If Sid never left, would they still be as good? Probably, because Sid was that driving force for a while, especially with early Pink Floyd. I feel like they still would have hit that peak that they did, if not even, bigger. Do you know Journey's music? Well, not really. I'm not a huge Journey guy. Honest thoughts on Spice Girls. Elite, ahead of their time. Hey, happy Saturday. I don't think I've ever seen you live before. Yeah, appreciate it. I've only been going live routinely for about 2 weeks now since I got my new setup here. We're live on YouTube now as well to a whopping 0 people. It's my first time trying YouTube as far as the live is concerned. But I do appreciate those that come out. I would not be here without the support, so I will gladly try and go as live as much as I can to just entertain y'all and y'all entertain me. I'm not big on either one of them, to be honest with you, Hydrix. Tyler, the creator, is more like a comedian to me at this point. What do you think of Tarantino calling Paul Dano the weakest actor? That was pretty crazy. He said that. I remember seeing that. That was pretty wild. He would say that out loud because now he's going to get looked at kind of like down a little bit in Hollywood. Billy Joel, Elton John, Elton John. Keep the content up, bro. It's entertaining. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I enjoy your videos, the rankings videos. Appreciate it. Jenna, that's awesome. Underrated female wrestler and overrated? Overrated? I don't think Chyna is looked at as a wrestler. More so like her look was really impressive. Underrated, though, Eve Torres was really good. Thoughts on this? Oasis would never have been big if it wasn't for the Britpop movement. That is a hot take, possibly, potentially, most certainly. I mean, I guess you can say that, yeah, because the 90s was largely Britpop over there in the UK, as to which it was grunge and hip hop and rap over here in the States. Britpop, though, yeah, that was a huge movement, and I do think they were the ones that kind of spearheaded it. But I don't know. I think because the hits they had to their name and the talent they had and how on fire they were, maybe it was going to be a thing that happened regardless. But them being that driving force of Britpop, I can see a world in which some would say that's the reason they were as big as they were. But at the same time, I don't think they got there for no reason. I feel like they were there for a reason. You know, they had the talent, they had the songwriting, they had the hits especially. And I do think they are the best of Britpop. For sure, but at the same time, I can see why you would think that. My granddad went to school with John Lennon. Apparently, John used to call them all. I'm not surprised. Yeah, John was very much blunt and kind of a you know what, but great performer and songwriter. But he had some character flaws. Do you think if Michael Jackson and Freddie Mercury finished their album, it may have been one of the best? Oh yeah, oh yeah. At least give them a chance to show that they can, you know what I mean, like do something really good. Female wrestler Mount Rushmore, Lita, well, my favorites at least. Lita, Trish, AJ Lee, and Paige, I'd say. Oasis more than Radiohead, Brennan. What do you think Michael Jackson would be doing if he was alive today? I don't know. Probably making music still. He'd be big on social media. Michael would definitely have a presence on social media. I can tell you that right now. I'm from the area and I've never got Oasis. Love some songs, but Liam is a shocking singer to me. It takes a while sometimes for certain, you know what I'm saying? Like even with me, there were certain artists that it took me a while to get into, but eventually when I did, I was like, wow, this is, you know, better than expected. I just never respect Oasis for saying they were bigger than the Beatles. That's probably why Paul didn't really mess with them either. Beatles got a lot of grief back in the day because John said they're more popular than Jesus, even though it was kind of like tongue in cheek. But yeah, still, it's music. You got to be careful what you say. I never knew about the Michael Jackson and Pepsi thing until I saw it in the movie. I got to be an idiot. Nah, they tried to hide. Well, Michael didn't like talking about it, obviously, but that really did contribute to his life being a pretty big wreck after that because of all like the medication you would take and his hair having the problem now where he's losing it. You know what I mean? So very sad. Old news, but what are your thoughts on Apple Music's top 100 albums list? I had to look at it again to refresh my memory about it. I probably wouldn't like it. Incredible anthem makers, but Oasis aren't great songwriters in terms of being sophisticated. You know, it's crazy. That kind of sounds like Queen. Kind of. Not saying they are, but Queen kind of had the same thing as well, where they were regarded as like anthem makers, hit makers, catchy stuff. but like the really sophisticated type of deal. That's the main complaint I see in regards to Queen when I give them credit is people saying they weren't really, which is crazy because Brian May is one of the smartest artists ever. They were just not fans of them. I don't know why, educationally or sophisticated or anything like that. Yeah, John got them in a lot of trouble saying that they were bigger than Jesus or they were more popular than Jesus. What do you rate Michael's Invincible album 1 through 10? I'll go 7. That was with the Epic, I want to say, wasn't it? No. I think that was his last one with Sony, maybe, because he accused them of not promoting it. And then after that, he went to Epic, I'm pretty sure. Stone Cold or The Rock? The Rock. I liked him more as a kid. I do like Queen more than Oasis, I will say that, yep. Not a big Stone Roses fan. Never really have been. This YouTube stream, by the way, 0 viewers, folks. Oh, now we have 1. Hello. Any thoughts on the Brian Jonestown's Massacre band? Have not heard them, so I can't give you any thoughts on it, unfortunately. John wasn't an amazing person. It's a shame he was taken from us after he got through all of his issues. Yeah, it is. I know a lot of folks do think that John, because of his character flaws, they don't really care how he passed away. It's like, that's kind of messed up, though, right? Like, he had some problems like we all do, but to get gunned down the way he did in front of his girl, yeah, no. Do you think if Randy Savage or Andre the Giant were alive a bit longer, they would have been as big as Hogan? Probably not, because they were older. Macho Man lived to his 60s. Andre almost lived to his 50s. I do feel like they were content being as big as they were. Andre was probably the biggest wrestler before Hogan because of it was San Martino as well. But Andre was, he was the 8th wonder of the world. He was really big with pretty much the entire country and, of course, in France. But he was a wide-known name. I feel like a lot of folks, that's one of the rare wrestlers that's like pre-national takeover that Vince McMahon did. They'll know who Andre the Giant is because of just the name and how big he was and stuff like that. Your pickup on YouTube is always slower. Yeah, it is for sure. It's harder, man. YouTube is a hard game. Who realistically could win in a fight? Who could beat 09 Randy Orton in a fight? Nobody. He was a psychopath. Probably Brock, I would say. What up, Sny? I like Oasis more. Yeah, John and Paul both lost their moms pretty young. That didn't really help matters. Appreciate it, Sny. Ace, that's a good question. Sometimes it could be sickness. It could be just not wanting to do it. I feel like now more than ever, for better or worse, to me, it's for better. Artists have more control compared to what it used to be. So if they don't want to go on stage, they'll cancel it. You know what I mean? Whether it's a sickness, whether it's another obligation, which is wild as an artist. It varies, but yeah, I'm not surprised that more are doing it. Favorite group and solo artist. Solo artist, Buddy Holly. Group, The Temptations. What did Andre and Macho Man pass away from? Was it cancer? Andre had, essentially, it was called giantism, right? Big Show had it as well, but when Big Show had it, they were able to give him surgery. So it was like to remove it and to prolong his life. Andre's, his organs and stuff like that kept growing. So it was making it harder for his heart to operate, and he ended up passing away while he was visiting his dad to go to his funeral. And then Macho Man had a really bad heart problem he didn't know about, I don't think. And he was driving his Jeep, had a heart attack, and then crashed his Jeep into a tree. But he died via the heart attack, they said. I'm not sure with Oasis being more successful if Liam didn't have an ego. I'm not sure. They were already huge to begin with. Post UFC, Brock. would beat Randy because obviously he knew how to actually fight professionally. Why do so many hate Nickelback and Creed? It's the cool thing to do. Creed actually has a couple good songs. Nickelback has a few, but I prefer Creed. They do, I feel like, as well. Oasis. I love the Hardy Boys. Who are the 80s wrestlers that are still alive? Jake the Snake, who else? Ted DiBiase Jr. is alive still. Rick Martel. Brutus Beefcake, he's alive still. I think One Man Gang is alive still, right? Akeem, I think he's alive still. Um, a lot of like the mid card guys, like Demolition, they're alive still. Biggest teen idol singer of the 50s? That's tough, man. Richie maybe? Richie Valens? He's only 17. Um, Ricky Nelson, I would say, because he came from a TV show. There's a lot of them, especially back then. But I'd probably say Richie and Ricky, amongst many more. What's crazy is rock bands can last 20 to 70 years. Oh yeah, Rolling Stones, U2 is coming close, man. U2 has been going for what 50 years now, a little more. No, not quite 50. I think it's 50 years, and I want to say in like another year or two. Billy Joel or Neil Diamond? We'll go Billy Joel. Ric Flair, yeah, he's somehow alive. Thank God he is. Michael P.S. Hayes, yep, he's still backstage. What is the concert that you wish you would have attended? The Surf Ballroom Winter Dance Party Tour, Clear Lake, Iowa, February 2nd, 1959, to see Buddy Holly's last show. If not that, Woodstock, the first one. What do you think would have happened if Lauryn Hill would have made 2 or 3 more albums throughout the 2000s? She would have had great success, considering it would have sold just off of how big her first one was. But she was just content or, was not able to replicate it. Best Travis Scott album? Don't listen to Travis Scott, unfortunately. Yeah, Richie Val and Ricky. Those are the two that are the teen idols for me, the 1950s. Do you think Andre the Giant led the way for wrestlers now to be actors? Yeah, he was one of them. The Princess Diaries. Hogan, I guess, to a degree as well, but his movies weren't very good. He was a big dude that looked like a star. You know what I mean? So he definitely looked like it. Recently been learning The Man Who Sold the World. Nirvana cover made me appreciate them more. Oh yeah. It's a huge song. Ricky is very underrated. Yes, he is. Ricky Nelson doesn't get his love because he looked a lot like Elvis, right? And he came from a TV show with Ozzy and Harriet. But he was great, man. Traveling Man was a great song. Garden Party was overall really good. Do you play any instruments? I do not. I play the lap drum, like Jerry Allison. That's it, though. Do you think Jake the Snake should have been a world champion? I think he was going to be, but something happened. I think he was going to work a program with Hogan, and they changed their mind. Best Bon Jovi album? Ooh, God, I don't know. I like a lot of their stuff like separately. Like I like It's My Life, which was several years later. I like Living on a Prayer, Shot in the Dark, Wanted Dead or Alive. But I have to go back and then brief the albums and really weigh them because I like a lot of his stuff that's like spread out. Do you find it very strange that Whitney Houston and her daughter both pass in a bathtub? To a degree, yeah, very much so. It was like scalding water too when Whitney passed away. Ultimate Warrior was my goat. He was the man for a while. I mean, Ricky was famous before Elvis. Yeah, he was. Yeah, Ricky. I think Ricky was a little older as well. I think he was a little older than Elvis. But again, he was more so like he was more known for his TV show with his parents. I feel like. How do you think Elvis's music would change into the 80s, or would he stay more or less the same. Probably the same. He may have done a little more classic stuff, or maybe dabbled into country music more. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm curious to see what he would have done as well because he would have only been into his mid 40s. He'd be, I think he'd be 50 exactly for Live Aid. Are you into AC/DC? Of course. What's my favorite biopic, and which is your dream that they'd make? Oh, so who's my favorite and who's one that I wish they would do next? My favorite one is Johnny Cash's biopic, I Walk the Line, and the one I wish they'd do next is a Prince biopic. Trying to see. YouTube is dead, man. Piper at the Gates of Dawn, not familiar. Did you ever see the show Ninja Warrior or American Ninja Warrior? For a little bit, yeah, it was big for a minute. Oh yeah, Ricky was a little bit younger. And they died 8 years apart too. Ricky died in the plane wreck, and then Elvis, he died 8 years beforehand. Do you think? Oh, hang on. Why do you think so many of the '80s wrestlers died? Do you think Vince's schedule was tough for them? Yeah, and the drugs they would do. They would do a lot of hard drugs back then because weed was. Bret Hart said a million times they didn't want to give them permission to do weed, so they would do alcohol and the hard stuff. You know what I mean, like the white powder. So that contributed definitely to Roddy Piper passing away young. Iron Sheik lived pretty long, but he had a lot of health problems near the end. Um, yeah, a lot of those guys back then were really just the rock star lifestyle. Do you think Hendrix is the greatest pure music talent in the history of rock? He's one of them. He gets a lot of hate these days, man. You'd be surprised all the people on TikTok when I mention Hendrix, they call him like overrated or not as good as they say he is. I'm like, bro, he influenced so many people. You can't say he's overrated. You can dislike him, but Whitney and Aretha are the most talented female artists to me. Me too. I'd go Aretha, then Whitney. Get to see Rush. Awesome. Who do you think should have collabed back in the day? A dream collaboration? I would like. I know Elvis and Bowie wanted to. I'm pretty sure, but they didn't. Um, a dream collaboration: Bob Dylan and Buddy Holly. That'd be a big one. Um, I'm not sure. That's a good question. Michael Jackson and Prince, probably the easy answer. Yeah, Bowie biopic would be great. I would love a Bowie biopic. Sinatra doesn't have one. It's crazy because he was huge in both, film, TV, and music. Yeah, that's probably why I'm not a huge Pink Floyd fan, unfortunately. While giving them their due for being one of the biggest bands ever. What band do you think every member is the best of all time at their role? My answer is always Led Zeppelin. That's my answer as well. I've always said the most talented band is Zeppelin. Bonham, JPJ, Jimmy, and Robert. Oh yeah. I don't know if they're the best of all time at each spot because Jimmy Page, especially live, was not so great. But Robert, you can make the case, best frontman. JPJ, absolutely the best bassist, and then John, best drummer. Hendrix is one of my all-time favorite guitarists with Slash and Kirk Hammett. That's a great list. SRV is a lot of people's favorite on TikTok as well. I'm young, but looking at history of rock at the time and guitarist, Hendrix is the GOAT. He is the GOAT, man. Jeff Beck is on a lot of people's list as well because of how great he was, which he was. But Hendrix, yeah, the influence, man, he's got to be up there. Yeah, 27 Club is it'll always be pretty wild. Which wrestler are you surprised is alive still? Ric Flair. Did Michael Jackson mess with Madonna? I think so. My top three bands of all time. Beatles, Stones, and Zeppelin, I would say. Appreciate that. Michael was a good biopic, I thought. I like some Dire Straits, Dylan. Do you like One Direction? I'm sorry, do you listen to One Direction? Not really. They were getting big as I was finishing up high school, so I heard them aplenty when I was younger. Hot take: Dave Mustaine is a great guitarist. Shouldn't be a hot take to me. I think he's good. Thoughts on Guns N' Roses? Love them. Best debut album of all time? Maybe. I would have loved to hear Johnny Cash's version of Bowie's song "Scary Monster." I'm surprised he didn't do more covers with how much he was doing near the end of his life. What's that request, Celia? Did the other Nirvana members know Kurt Cobain was having issues before he passed away? I think they did, yeah. I think Dave has talked about it before. I think Vince is done for good, yeah. Not really. With the Marine within Nirvana. Sublime, not so much. Tears in Heaven is very sad, yes. About his son, that's heartbreaking. NWA Game Changers. Changed the game. And a crazy loaded crazy loaded group. I'm not a big Linda fan. Top 3 guitarists for me will always be Hendrix, Clapton, and Page. That's a good list. I'm a big Randy Rhoads fan. Everlong's a really good song. Thoughts on Rosa Parks? Come on now. A legend here. You could do a video on the infamous 27 Club. I have before. Or maybe I haven't. I thought I did. Maybe. I think I did. Who's the greatest live band, Zeppelin or Queen? Queen. Do you like psychedelic rock? Some of it. Can you make a video about Liam Payne's death? Potentially. I think I referenced it once or twice before about people that died in 2025, or maybe it was 24. Because he got drunk, right? And he fell off of a balcony, I think, right? Yeah, man. Michigan. Santana is not appreciated as much. He should be. He's still going. He's almost 80. You should make a video about your favorite, most recent artist. It'd be interesting. I'd be here for a while thinking about who it's going to be. Maybe Kendrick. Make a death in 2024 video. That's a good idea. Jeff Buckley is one of the saddest deaths for me. So obvious to prevent when you look back. I know. Yeah, out of all things to pass away from, man, I just drowning. Well, he was coherent too, because a lot of folks they'll overdose, in some sort of water or whatever it is, and then they'll drown that way. But with him, I don't think he even OD'd. He was just, yeah. The Cure is okay, yeah. Friday, I'm in Love, great song. Do you think Bruno Mars has the most hits in the 2010s? Amongst the most, him and Drake, I would say. Ed Sheeran, Justin Bieber, people like that. I'm checking on my YouTube stream and nothing's happening over there. Kind of figured. Yeah, The Cure is very influential to a lot of the bands that came after them, especially Robert. Grace, I think to this day, is one of the biggest debut albums of all time. Favorite Selena song? Dreaming of You. What are some of your dream matches in wrestling that never happened? Eddie versus Shawn Michaels, The Rock and Shawn Michaels, Taker and Sting. Chris Brown. Brittany Murphy death was crazy from pneumonia, which didn't even know. Yeah, she was young. She was like 32. Favorite Beatle? I go back and forth, either John or Paul. Some days Paul, some days John. Do you like the popularity of country music like Ella Langley? Not really. I'm not a huge country music fan. Like modern country music. Hot take, Fleetwood Mac are very simple and overrated live-off drama within the group. Hey, bro, rumors. I can kind of see that, I guess you can say. But what would be your thoughts on a Chris Christopherson biopic if they made one? I don't think they would, but I'd see it. I think nowadays, if they know they want to make a lot of money, they got to make it off of like a big musician. Like even Springsteen is a big musician, and that biopic didn't make any money, I feel like. Jeff Buckley was a deep music loss, and career just starting would have been huge. Oh yeah, Jeff would have been huge. Still young too. Do you think Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston would have been one of the biggest songs? Oh yeah, as arguably two of the biggest '80s performers. Do you think Yoko Ono is misunderstood to a degree in certain elements? Yeah. Beatles album, I go back and forth. Abbey Road or the White Album, typically. All right, let me end this YouTube stream because nothing's happening.